They're alive. Leafs Talk. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee, Justin Bourne. You can follow this podcast on Apple or Spotify. Follow the boys on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee, at JT Bourne. The Leafs pull it out. The captain comes through. Pacioretty continues to be clutch, and Joel Wool gets a shutout. Justin Bourne, what did you think of this win tonight?
It's just, I'd love to say I didn't see it coming, but I think a lot of us kind of saw a good performance coming from the Leafs, and
this was the Leafiest outcome.
It was a super Leafy outcome in that they were awesome. The textbook defensive game and their structure didn't give up a ton. The goalie solid. We saw some dominant lines shifts from the top line. Got one from Matthews. It was like, that's kind of what we expect to see at their best in the big games. So, nothing but full marks for the Leafs.
Can they play Game 7 on the road? Is that a potential? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, can you just concede it?
Just be like,
yeah, listen, we'll stay here.
We don't need to come back to Toronto. We'll just play this Sunday night. We'll stay here. We'll play this game in this building again, because it's a different squad of men tonight than it was on Game 5, and it's followed a very similar script to the Ottawa series with the absolutely brutal Game 5 performance that made us all pissed off in the first round. And then they go and they have a good road effort where they end up winning late. Max Pacioretty scores a crucial goal in that game as well. It's a very, very similar sort of recipe. And we're heading back to
the first goal in that one too.
Yeah. And we're heading back to Toronto for a Game 7 in the second round. By the way, fellas, this era of Leafs hockey never lost a Game 7 in the second round. So they are perfect record so far.
Clean slate.
Perfect record in Game 7s in the second round. So like I've always said, never had any doubt in these guys in this game. Always thought they were going to come through. Never doubted for 1 second. So congrats to them.
Yeah. I wondered if they maybe made it so tough in Game 5 because they just wanted to bump up the win column in the elimination game stat, which has been awful for these guys. Hey, they got to win. At least they're going to break even in this series on elimination games. So congrats to Leafs on that. Honest to God, though, this is the Leafiest stuff ever, right? Like, this is just, I got to admit, I'm excited about the win. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But it adds a layer of frustration to what we saw in Game 5, because everything we've been saying about the top line and what they've needed to do, they can do it. Like, it is in them to give. And yet, for whatever reason, it takes until Game 6 of this series for it to turn. And they had some moments in the first couple of games. The whole team was very good. But in terms of these last 3 games, that was completely absent from those 2 players. Yeah. And tonight, without Matthew Nyes basically healthy for 80% of the game, 90% of the game. When did the OEL hit?
He might feel worse next game.
Oh yeah. I that's a conversation for later in the show, but like we got to start with the guys that we killed in the last contest, but it's hard not to feel a little torn, because you go, hey, who are you? Somebody people will accuse this show of being bipolar. And all I can say to that is it's because of the team that we cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this like viewing everything through results where it's like, one goes through Bobrovsky's legs. So now everything they did was good in the game. And the other games when none went in, everything they did was bad in those games. Like, they weren't that much better than they've been. Just like a puck went in for them tonight. They had a couple better shifts. Otherwise,
I thought
you didn't think that the first line was much better than this game than they were in the last game, though.
So Game 5 and Game 6 in this series, totally bunk. They were trash last game. They were good tonight. Totally.
That's what I'm comparing it to here.
Okay, and I just mean generally when we talk about like these guys in these sort of games, like one goes in and they win, so it's like everything they did was good. They've had lots of losses where they've played pretty well, and it just haven't had that one,
Yes.
The margins are very thin at this time of year for star players, and it's a nothing absolute slog fest. And Marner makes a great play picking the puck off, gets it to Matthews, and let's be frank, boys, it's a total softie. It's an absolute softie by Bobrovsky. Like, it's a good shot from whatever, but it's an unscreened shot on the ice from the top of the circle that goes in. But listen, you'll take it. He hasn't been able to get the good ones to go. He hasn't been able to get anything to go. And for him to even have a clean look at the net that it feels like he hasn't had, to get the A wrister off and have it go 5-hole, have it go to the back of the net. I mean, it's just, there's no comparison or no, question. I think, did you tweet that was the biggest goal of his career? Obviously the biggest goal of his career. The first one that against the Florida Panthers in the second round of the playoffs, it's a huge moment for the captain who has taken a beating from everybody. And listen, we're not the only ones who have done it, boys. Listen, it's
been deserved.
Of course. That's what I mean. And
you sent me a stat today. He's the first player out of 101 guys with what's the stat? You got it, right?
Let me find it quick. I'll pull it up here.
I'll say is these. I just want to push back a bit on the softy talk. It's pretty good play. Like he pulls it in, changes angle, gets it through the D. There's some pace on it. It's not. You're right, Sammy. It's not like you picked a top corner, but it's not. The worst.
So I would like to push back on all of the pushback because to me the process was totally different tonight from him. I thought that Matthews about what I wrote it down in my notes. They came out kind of slow. Their first two shifts, I thought that Florida had way more possession. I thought that Toronto kind of looked a little bit like everything we'd seen in game 5. And then all of a sudden the penalties started to rack up and they killed 2 penalties early on in this hockey game. And then there's a shift right after the second penalty kill. By the way, if we're doing biggest storylines of this game, penalty killing 4 penalties is it's right below Matthews. The only reason is that these guys have absorbed all the noise. But if you want to point to hey, why did they win? It's that they were able to ultimately, I guess, win the special teams battle because they don't score a power play goal, but they only got 2 to Florida's 4. But they came out like a house on fire after those penalties. And what I will say about Matthews in terms of Bourne, was there a crazy difference to me through a lot of this line? No, Knies was hurt. Marner once again had another game without a shot. That's 3 games in this series, all 3 of which on the road where he has not registered a shot. But I thought Matthews was in the fight tonight in a way that he was absolutely not in the prior game. And frankly, in a way that I don't think that I've seen from him in this series in general. He was hard on pucks. He was going into corners. He was digging them out. And then ultimately he scores on what is a vintage Matthews goal, which is, like you said, the deceptive wrist shot. It's along the ice, just like the goal in Ottawa, right? He's the curling guy now. He doesn't score top corner. He scores along the ice. But I think that for a guy that has been obviously been carrying a big confidence issue and the noise is the loudest about in terms of at least his skill and what he had to lose from a perception point, because I think Marner's perception is essentially sealed at this point, outside of a cup. I think it was a massive night for Matthews. I got to give him all the credit in the world. No, it was gutsy.
I totally agree. It was his best. He saved his best game of the playoffs for their biggest game here.
Yeah.
And what can you say? In the face of criticism, in the face of that's what great players are supposed to do. And it's been lacking in this series. But when it comes down to it, this is, you're facing elimination and you go down into a road building and the defending champions, you score the game-winning goal. You have your best game of the playoffs. Full credit. Very impressed. Have to say, didn't expect it, but he really turned it up and I give him full credit. I'm really, really happy that we saw it tonight. And I did say in the show today that he would score. So I gave it out. I gave out the money for everybody for plus 180. So there you go.
Yeah, I'd say a couple times too, when the puck was at the point, he was parked in front of the net, looking for tips and rebounds, which he hadn't been there previously.
Yep. Again, it was out of 110 400 goal scorers.
Yeah.
He was the only one without a second round goal until tonight.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's an insane stat.
It's out of all the stats that this team has had that are crazy stats because of all the playoff exits, that was at the top of the pile tonight.
I adore Sportsnet stats. I use them for my lineups all the time. I'm always on there, but I don't know who runs that account. They're not a huge Leafs guy. Not a huge Leafs guy.
Can I tell you?
They're finding the real dirt on the Leafs. They're digging it up.
First of all, the Leafs have created their own dirt.
It's true. They're muddy. They're muddy.
This is the same thing that I get angry about when people are like, you're so hard on the team. I'm like, what do you want me to say? They've been to the second round twice in 9 seasons. And the 2 times that they've done it, there have been embarrassing losses. Like I'm not sure exactly what story you're supposed to tell with this group. I'll give you a Sportsnet stat that was a nice one. Max Pacioretty has 8 goals in 15 elimination games.
Yep.
Clutch stud.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, the guys beneath the stars that they needed to be good were really good tonight. Like I like Domi more than I've liked him in any playoff game this season. Really worked and tracked back and thought about defense. At one point, he had a chance to go on a rush. The Leafs had numbers, and he chipped it in behind the net, and then settled into F3. And I was like, oh, he's had a stern talking to.
Bourne, at that very moment, I thought he was going to do a little flip back pass to, I think it was Pacioretty that was trailing him. There was nothing there, and I was like, oh God, don't do it. And he actually dumped in, and I was like, Berube has been hammering him over the head with this.
He would have made that pass in every game until Berube probably had him up against the locker after the last game and said never again. So he was good. Pacioretty goes to the net and gets another one. And McMahon, I thought, a little more ice time, a little more opportunity because of the Nyes thing. He found his feet a bit, makes a nice play on the winner, but I also thought he turned pucks over. So, but buddy, that's a pretty complete team effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
I gotta say, and the Max Pacioretty thing, if we can, I want to
stick on this for a bit.
I loved his reaction, boys. I loved his reaction. That was I just a really,
What'd you think
really
Matthews'
good
reaction.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of Matthews' reaction, but Patches in general, it's just like it's clearly a huge goal, but it just was such a real. Like that is as hard as you can celebrate. Feels so good in that moment after it was a close game. That one seals the deal. That was an awesome moment for Pacioretty, who's been so good for them in these playoffs. Like you just have to give this guy full credit. Been clutch. And you said that was his 8th, right? I saw today that was his 7th going into elimination games. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, awesome play by Pacioretty. That's a hard play too, man. Like on his backhand to get enough on that to across the body, chip it back towards into the net. Like that's what it comes down to. Pacioretty's now a bit of a brute. He's a bit of a bruiser now, but like this guy scored so many goals in his prime. He was an elite goal scorer in the league. So when puck lands on his stick in the sweet spot, you can still dial it back, and he does there. I love this play. I loved it.
I tweeted this, but it was like, if the Leafs end up going on a run, like if they somehow pull this off, and I know some people get mad for even thinking about it, but if they did, he's already becoming one of the most memorable guys from this postseason, given what he has provided for them. How many years have this team been looking for a guy to do this, to just, not kill you defensively? Is he a perfect player? No, he gets bumped down the lineup tonight. There's no discussion about it, right? Max Pacioretty's a veteran. Nobody's like, there's no noise around it. He's just a vet. He's going to go out and play his role. He's there with Bobby McMahon. He gets an opportunity to finish, and he does it with just a goal scorer's goal with a nose for the net, which is what he has done with all of his goals so far this postseason. Like they've all looked some form of the goal that he had tonight. It's been massive for them.
This Pacioretty postseason is going to lead to 100 bad contracts where teams are going to try to like buy low on the old guy who's been hurt at the end of his career, who used to be good. And they'll be like, you never know, we'll buy low. And they're going to get trash.
But he costs like
absolute gold here. What's that?
He costs like $800K with some bonuses that he didn't hit because of the injury.
He did get the bonuses.
He hit his bonus.
Yeah.
They gave him all the no way, because he wouldn't have hit.
Yes, he played in
like
37
a 36
games.
game bonus, and he hit 37 or something.
He did, eh? Good for him. Well, I'll just tell you this. I think that if you're a team and you're taking that kind of a low flyer on somebody with talent, it's like, who cares if 10 of them miss as long as the 11th one is this one, right? Like, how much stupid money gets spent in the NHL on bad deals? I'd rather have the 1 year guy who's done it before that might sit on the shelf, and if you break him out, does this. Like, this is a good one from Brad in the chat. Did Brad undo Dubas choosing Simmons over Corey Perry by signing Pacioretty? It's like, they've kind of missed on these guys. Everybody signs these vets to short-term deals, and the Giordano one was good, even though they traded a second-round pick to get him.
Was pretty good.
Yeah, but Sam and I don't acknowledge him on the show.
Yeah,
Oh,
we met in Black sticked that one because
Yeah.
of the Davis affiliation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that never happened.
Yeah. Us thinking that he was loyal to the sweater and to the crest, and then immediately taking his ball and leaving with Dubas. You are Men in Black Stick from the show. He is the man whose name will not be spoken on Leafs Talk. But yeah, you're right. That one was a hit. But yeah, Corey Perry was forever just that miss of a guy where it was like, God, they could have had this dude.
Yeah.
He's been so good for them. Pacioretty is proving that role for this team. He was, God.
So tonight is a night where the guys who don't stand out are why you win. Obviously, Matthews stands out, they win, but the D, and it's, Benoit, who absolutely destroyed Brad Marchand, and it's, Tanev, it's McCabe, it's good defense in their own end.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went there.
This is the story. I mean, outside, like you said, outside the big things, like all these guys were just selling out every shift. Like how many more, I didn't look at the stats. I can look it up quickly. How many more damn shots did poor old Chris Tanev's body eat tonight? Like, good Lord. Like at least 8 more hits tonight, at least 8 more shot blocks. Like it must have been 3 in the last 2 minutes that he ate. Like, I love that play by Benoit. How about Marchand? Like thinking you're just going to pull a head straight down toe drag into the middle of the slot with the least most physical defenseman standing there. Not his best move he's ever done, I don't think. But yeah, it just all the defense. This was like the Berube porn game. Where
check the chat. Check the last comment there. Leafs allowed 3 shots on net from the slot, Sam. Fewest by a team in any game this playoffs.
So that was the question that I wanted to ask you before we saw that was, what was your guys' most memorable moment for the Florida Panthers tonight? Like,
by the way, 6 block shots for Tanev tonight.
Yeah. No. Chris Tanev after the series is going to be looking like Jay Leno when he fell down that hill. It's like he is taking a beating, man. It is just like, it is incredible what this guy's doing.
He's already dead.
Yeah, it's so much. But I would say that again, the penalty kill was a part of this because they were doing exactly that, getting into lanes, packing the front. Everything Florida was doing felt like shots from the perimeter that were missing the net. They were shooting high. They're going off the glass. Toronto did a good job of hunting down those pucks and then making sure that they actually got out. There was only, I would say, in this entire game where Florida, like truly felt like they were fully in control was the beginning of the second period. There was a couple of shifts where it seemed like it was back-to-back Nylander line shifts where they were hemming him in and they were starting to move the puck around and got a couple of opportunities. Woll made some good saves late. He made some good saves in the second period. But in terms of this shutout, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him, so everybody chill out.
Yeah.
This is a defense save or shutout. This is a shutout that should go in the column of all of the defensemen tonight, more so than the goaltender, period.
The plays I remember most are like Domi getting to a loose puck just before someone on their team in the slot. The back check from Carlo, that's a penalty. That's not a penalty. A lot of these plays where it felt like Florida might have something and guys made desperation plays to make sure they didn't. And 3 shots on net from the slot for, what people believe to be the best team in the NHL, or at least one of the top few. That is a performance in a big game on the road, boy.
Can I tell you something again that pisses me off about this?
They can do it.
Okay. We saw game 5, right? And it's like this team.
I wish so badly I never did.
Yeah, I know. But it's just like this team truly is. It's the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team this way. They have it in them. They did it against Ottawa. The same thing, that game 5, where they can just lay eggs that make you lose every piece of faith in anything that they've built. And then they put together a game like tonight. And Bourne, I'm with you. Like, I didn't think that the Stars were overwhelmingly great. Like, the bar has gotten so low that Matthews does score the 1 goal and Marner gets an assist in a game where he has no assists. And we're going to be like, hell yes, top line. Hell yes. But the stuff that we have seen this season from them when they are at their best, like this was the Toronto Maple Leafs blueprint. Yeah. Right? Like this defensive structure as a team is what they are built around. And when you see a night like this, it confuses you and it goes, well, what are you supposed to do next year if you can do a game like this on the road against the Florida Panthers? And that That I hate. That I hate that I will have to go to bed if this series ends up with Florida winning and have thoughts of performances like this as a team, right? Like, ugh. It's almost annoying to win. Like,
I really, really do not know how to feel. I wish.
Feel good.
I'm very happy that they won this game. Like, clearly, duh.
Yeah.
But I would be lying if I said that I had any expectation for Game 7 in terms of performance.
No,
like,
it's the Leafy thing. It's the Leafy thing is that they would go out and they would do this, and then Game 7 they lose in heartbreaking fashion in a way that everyone's at each other's throats, and people are talking about bounces again, and we're heading into an off season full of question marks.
There's one critical play that happens that the game is now named after. Like, it's just like, the Riley game or the, or the Wall game. Like, there's a situation, but like, I mean, I guess they're eligible to win Sunday, boys. Like
eligible
that is
to win.
That is an outcome that is allowed. That the Leafs can go into that game on Sunday night now after their best performance defensively in my life, potentially. Like, I can't ever remember like that was as good as the Panthers were in Game 4 defensively. Leafs were right there, if not way better tonight than they were in that game. So if they can make it look like that on Sunday night, they have a fantastic chance to win.
Yeah.
Are they going to show up? Are they going to do the same thing they did in Game 5? Like, it's the most unpredictable Game 7 in hockey history to me. It really is. Pardon?
I'm already nervous.
I'm very nervous. I
got to tell you, now I'm nervous, and I was not nervous in this game until they were up 1-0. Yeah, because I was watching this with a lot of dead inside feeling.
Correct.
I was just like, do whatever.
You can't hurt me anymore.
Yeah, it was just, we talked about it, the pre-grieving. I'm like, do whatever. They started the game, and I thought that they were kind of flat for the first few minutes of the hockey game. And I thought, oh yeah, Sammy was right. Lay down in the street game where they do this. And even when Nyes got hurt on this reverse hit, which we should probably get into now, I thought, oh God, this is like, all they needed was a crack to quit, right? And this might be it. This might be
ribs.
Yeah, so is that what we think happened here with him? Is that he eats it in the ribs and maybe he bruises one or cracks? Like,
what's interesting is like they pointed out in the broadcast, he grabs his right hip almost, like it, and he hits the contacts on his left side left hip. So lower back.
Well, okay, so if we can, I want to John Boy this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to, because you know how John Boy does the lip reading. If you run that back, Luke, he's saying, I can't move it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's not his rip. Like he says, I can't move it, which is like his leg because it's moved around weird in his hip. But yeah, if you see those lips there, he's saying, I can't move it. I can't move it. So something he couldn't move. And Bourne, you're right.
Like, what a strange outcome, Bunk, that like they took him off the top line, but he didn't exit the game. And he still played and looked off, but I don't know. Like, it's really tough to dial this in. I gotta say, everything you're piecing together here is like hippie back stuff.
Well,
yeah, hip.
What was the OG Anunoby injury he always had? Hip pointer?
Yeah. Well, I thought he had an abductor.
I thought it was a hip pointer. Somebody used to have a hip pointer in the Raptors, but a hip pointer.
Somebody used to have a hip pointer.
That was. I thought it was the OG. I thought it was the OG injury. Never mind. But anyways, it's just. I don't know what a hip pointer is, but it's a sports thing, and it looks like he got hit right in the hip point. So he was grabbing at it. He couldn't really move his leg, and it feels like the leg bone's connected to the hip point. So I'm going to go with hip pointer. That's my doctor.
Nyes out for Robertson. Is that a size flip at all?
Oh, my God. Dr. McKee, yes.
I was going to say, I actually hate so much Twitter doctors, like when they start doing this is my diagnosis, because I have a buddy who's a doctor who will do that sometimes where he'll just be like, hey, this is the injury. And then it's like, yeah, it never turned out to be that way. He's actually gotten better now with this. But back in the day when he first started med school, everything that would happen in a game, he would automatically just be like, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. This is what this was. And then 2 seconds later, the guy would be back on the field. The running back's just like juking somebody out, touchdown. You're like, oh yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. Like he's doing that. What we just did might have been the worst segment in history. It's like, I don't know what a hip pointer is, but
I disagree.
I might have a hip pointer.
That was great.
So Craig Berube says he isn't sure if Matthew Knies will be healthy enough to play Game 7 from CJ.
Well, here's what I do think is right. What Bourne said about you having the adrenaline and at least you're already moving around to stay out on the ice, to now go get on an airplane back to Toronto and have to sit there for the couple of hours and then get off and then come back. That to me feels less sure. And
they're deep on left wing. It's fine.
He's their only left wing.
Holmberg's their second line left winger. They're fine.
Honestly, it's like all the Robertson. This might be the Robertson Super Bowl for the
Robertson game.
Oh my God.
That's the game it's going to be.
The scratch and score Game 7.
Robertson Game
Panthers.
7 goal.
Gets the scratch, but then also potentially gets an opportunity up in the top 6 because you can't play Pacioretty for 20 minutes.
No.
And McMahon, I'll be honest. Like, good
They'll
for
put
McMahon.
Kemp in before him. Come on.
Yeah, they will.
McMahon makes a nice pass on the goal. Obviously, beautiful saucer pass. But I thought for most of that game, I was like, you were supposed to be the X factor, and you are just you're ghost factor. Like, you don't exist. You don't make plays. You bobble pucks. I think the ice was bad tonight. There was a lot of it, but McMahon
he sure made it look like it.
Yeah, he really did. And it was like,
but I thought he got in on the forecheck a couple times when he was playing with Pacioretty. Like, he was using his size. He was trying to get on the forecheck a little bit, but just not a lot's happening with him. But I got to give him credit for the pass. Really nice saucer onto the backhand of Pacioretty who puts it home. So nice for him to contribute a point. Like, is that his first? Like, how many points does he have?
2 points in playoffs, 2 assists.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty big for him to be able to see that one. Maybe like you just keep waiting for him to have a puck that just like, remember in the regular season when like a guy would bobble a puck and those long strides and he's just gone and he just rips it top corner. It just doesn't happen a whole lot. But it's a great pass, feathery, right into the stride so he can put it home. But yeah, you're just at this point, you're just hoping for anything from him, and you got to.
Nice to see Bennett and Forsling and all those guys on for that goal turning away.
Yeah, that was nice. My other McMahon theory, like it's twofold, is when we were doing so many Leafs talk, Sammy, what would I always say? That he had like a Wes Welker quality where he was really good at finding the soft spot in the zone and sitting down and getting to a spot where he could make himself available for a goal. And then again, playoff hockey, you're playing teams who are making it hard on you to get to those spots. It's not regular season against, Minnesota tonight. Yeah. It's a real game.
Pretty good.
I know. Just
go
trying
Flyers.
To pick a team.
Go Flyers.
We always use Flyers and Red Wings. That's the two teams we say every single time. So I was just trying to jumble it up. All right. And I think that it's just harder for him to get to those spots. And he's not the kind of guy that will not be denied getting to those spots. Yep. So that's sort of what we've seen. Because, I don't know how many breakaway goals you're going to get unless you're William Nylander. I like this in the chat. Tactical Robertson scratch to ensure a goal for Game 7.
It was logical.
Yeah,
you had
it
to
did
do
make sense.
You had to do it.
It is a guarantee. It's like hey,
5 times this year, legitimately. I
was gonna say, if you're the Florida Panthers, you have to win this game at least 2-1 because Robertson is getting hit. You got to account for it.
I thought Tavares was good tonight too, guys.
Same.
I thought he skated again, drove a couple wide, hard on pucks.
Yeah, except the power play stuff where it's like the go-to play now on the 5 is like the puck landing on his stick and like fluffing a backhand towards the net. Not loving that aspect of him right now, but the 5-man dry. And like, I just had so many thoughts watching this game being like, am I going to watch a $50 million Leafs power play cost them another damn playoff series? Like, that thought was running through my head where it's like, they get the 2 opportunities and they barely got a chance tonight.
Yeah.
Like the pack they showed of the power play was Marner making like a good defensive play on Barkov.
Yeah.
They're like, look at this great defensive play he made. I'm like, it was a great defensive play, but that should not be the highlight of a power play pack that they show after. So maybe it comes through. They get one in Game 7 and they get a big power play goal, but like, it's just, I love Tavares tonight too. Like, I thought he was really skating hard, driving the puck to the net, like you said. But when it looks so good and they're on top of the net, when on the power play, it's not there right now for them. It's just the puck is not, they're not getting the puck luck at all. Plus they're not sharp and decisive. As good as it looked at times, it looks just as bad the other way now. But
that's it though. To the Tavares point on the power play, the only moment that I actually liked for the power play tonight was a play where it was like they threw it on net and there were just 3 bodies in front chopping away at it, and Tavares was one of them.
Yeah.
And it feels stupid to say for a power play that costs $1 billion in talent, that's the formula for them. But I kind of feel like Matthews getting a wrister to go into the net. It's the same thing with the power play where it's like, they just need to chop one in. They just need exactly this. That's why, even though Knies was hurt, I don't think he got a shift until that first power play from that. He comes out in the second, he tries to give it a go. He can't move. We're all texting furiously.
He had a short shift where he like labored off the ice badly after it. Like he fell too. Like he got tied up with 2 guys, fell to the ice, and then went off pretty quickly after that.
Yeah. So then he got the power play, and it was like one chance for them. And then as soon as it was an exit, you saw Knies where it was like he was trying to skate up the ice and it was bad. But they had one chance in front of the net trying to chop it. And I'm glad that they kind of threw him out there for just exactly that. Hey, can you give me a chop in front of the net? One chop in front of the net. Can you eat up a body? Can you absorb a body? And I bet you that monster on the bench said, yes, I can. And they threw him out there for that exact role. So I'm not buying that it's going to be some perimeter wrist shot. I think it's going to be a tip puck, or it's going to be something that gets stuffed in by one of those guys, one of those big 6-foot+ guys around the net.
And they put Pacioretty on for the 5 forward on the second power play because I don't think like at some point Berube's got to make a choice on putting Knies out there. Like you love the heart, right? You love him being, I want to play. But at some point you kind of have to be like, listen, you're not giving us close to your 100%. But
there's a few times around the crease the guys were jamming that I thought one could have bounced to one of the Leafs stick. Like you could have seen this even more in their favor had they got a couple of bounces. So that was definitely one of them.
Well, again, like this game, I really do think that this was Toronto's formula. Like before Florida pulls Bobrovsky, I think the shots were 16-17.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it was
it was right there.
Dead even, real low, just complete pitcher's duel game. And you're hoping that one of your guys can hit a home run. And tonight, that was it. You sent your slugger up and he hit a home run in a tied 0-0 game. And it happened to be in the, bottom of the 8th inning. And then that was it. Like that's the ball. That's the ball game. So if they can replicate this strategy, like to me, this is the best you could possibly do against the Florida Panthers team that is just better, right? They're better.
Those guys didn't have any moments. Like, no, we didn't see Bennett or Marchand or Kachuk. Like, they weren't
Bennett a couple of times. Bennett had
I don't mean as a player, but they weren't like in scrums or talked about moments.
Yeah.
That's one of the keys. Don't do the stupid stuff where you're flying around and trying to chase the game and show them how tough you are.
Yeah.
And they kind of got away with a couple of penalties. I thought that, again, the penalty kill was very good, picking them up. One of them I thought was a little cheap. The second one, where it was the trip on OEL, I was like, is that really get that one? But
we don't talk about the refs, but the call on Carlo in the third, he puts his hand out like that. That doesn't impede him at all. He's got his hand up. To call that after what has been going in these playoffs at that point of a playoff game, I thought was a horrendous call.
I actually like the play from Carlo, though. It's almost the equivalent of getting your hand in the face of a shooter in basketball. But like you're not going to get the block. This is annoying.
There's no pull. There's no like grab. There's no nothing. He's got his stick extended. Like it's a 1-0 game in the third period of game 6 of the second round. It's like usually you get away with murder in this moment. And for him to call that, it was crazy to me.
To play devil's advocate on this, if you got one hand on the stick and you're putting the stick into the midsection of the other team's best player on an odd man rush, like you're gonna get called. I don't know. I can't really cry about that one. For me,
I thought it was a horrible call. I do. I'll cry. For
it. I know you cry every show, so it makes sense.
Barkov probably clamps down.
Anyway. Soft call.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
At that point of the game, first period, sure, all day. But at that point of the game, it's like you don't need that.
But anyways, I wanted to just close quickly on your Tavares point. The thought that I had about him all game long tonight was I don't think this guy plays golf.
You think he just works on his stride or something?
No, I think that he's like
definitely
never
plays golf.
No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's the joke is though, it's like he does not care. He does not want to see the links. He wants to play hockey. If there was one guy tonight where I went, he is dying for this, it was him. Every play from him, every shift from him, I thought was hard.
Definitely.
He's playing for his next Leafs contract, baby.
Yeah.
I don't think he has to play too hard for it. Like, well, he does, but I think he's getting it pretty much no matter what. Don't you?
Do too.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think there's a scenario where he leaves.
I think he's going to be one of those reinvent himself as like a really solid, grindy finish. You know, Corey Perry minus the worm factor, old guy.
To me, it's just like, I know people want blood and there's definitely lust for massive changes if they lose this thing. But if you just look at the landscape for what they can do down the middle and what he's going to cost versus, like, he's obviously going to take less than what he can get out on the open market. And I think that Marner is as good as gone, barring a Stanley Cup. Like,
even with it, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the kind of the perfect scenario, quite frankly.
Here you go.
Anyways, that's a different story for a different day. We can talk. We have lots of time to talk about that next week. Lots of time to talk about that next week, boys.
The boys are hiding their feelings though. Where's a perfect scenario? Is the way that got outlined. Is that the guy that wins the cup is gone after the end of the season? I think, I just want to give a nod again. Woll didn't have to do too much tonight. But when he was called upon, he was rock solid. And for the few moments where Florida was in tight and he had to make saves, he deserves a lot of credit for the way that he played. Again, we have player of the game, Joe Woll, at 53% from the fans. I vehemently disagree. I think that
one for Matthews. That's a tough bounce for Matthews.
What, that he doesn't get player of the game?
Yeah.
I honestly, for me, player of the game is Chris Tanev.
Yeah. Chris Tanev got 5% of the vote. Woll just looked solid. Pucks hit him. They didn't bounce off. He looked quiet. But like Mike Kelly told us on Twitter, was there 3 shots from the slot? Like it was the same shutout that Bobrovsky had in game 4. Just barely any chances. Didn't have to do a whole lot. Made a couple good saves when called upon. Really good in the last 2 minutes. And you get the win. You get the shutout. You get to feel good about yourself.
So all I can think about right now is you guys are talking about this is like, you know, win one game, right? And it's a whole new world. And it's like, will you allow yourself to go there? Will you allow yourself to believe? I'm talking to people watching, not you here. Will you let yourself get there?
I have already
the what ifs on this one.
Believe. Yeah, of course.
Really? No
yeah.
Way.
Duh.
I will not go there.
But
no way.
Again, I'm an old man now, you know, like I've watched this team be garbage for I shouldn't say the vast majority of my life, because they had good teams when I was in high school for a while, in junior high. And so it was like, but it's been a lot of bad. And as much as I will crush these guys into tiny little pieces, if they come up short in this game, and I think that they deserve the criticism. Like, as much as you're in this series, to me, it's like you did play games 4 and you did play games 5, and they all count the same. And like, this could have been a closeout game for you. This should have been a closeout game for you, realistically. If you go up 3-1, you get a split, or you can just go up 3-2 and grab a home win in front of your home fans. The fact that you have to torture people with this, like, this will they, won't they, right? They're the Ross and Rachel of, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna show up? Will they care to put in an effort tonight? What are we getting from them is so frustrating, but I've seen this version of them. So how could I not at least allow myself to believe? I don't think that's like cursy or jinxy. It's obviously on your mind.
I will be so happy if they win on Sunday night. I will be beyond my wildest dreams, but I won't. I can't believe. I can't believe
this is what this team has done to people.
I can't believe, man.
Winning a second round playoff matchup is like, it would be beyond my wildest dreams.
So your dreams suck.
I know. Sam's never dreamt of anything exciting. beyond my wildest dreams. Second round. Beating
the Florida Panthers after being down 3-2 is pretty good. And it would be very, very fun to go to a conference finals against the Carolina Hurricanes team that is a completely different team. Feels like not a better matchup, easier matchup, different type of matchup. I I want it so bad. Like
I will
I
say-
can't explain how badly I want it, but I can't. When the final
Can't let
buzzer
it
goes off, I'll be crushing darts and drinking beers. Be so
Here's
excited.
the bad part about psychology. You may say out loud, you don't. It's already in
No,
there. You
no
can't
shot.
Of course
change
I
it.
actually
Yeah,
am
of
not
course.
there, man. I truly am not. I
No,
truly am
just-
not.
Okay.
Today on
Okay.
Liars Who Lie, it's just one of us. Like,
Whatever, man. Like I would.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty forthcoming on this show, fellas.
yeah, you are.
I've
I think
always
you're lying
been
to
pretty.
yourself. I don't think you're lying
I'm
to
pretty
us.
forthcoming on this show.
I think the lady doth protest too much.
right.
Is
Yeah,
all I'm
talk-
saying.
well, you're
Talk
both
yourself, not
after
me,
me.
pal.
Like, what do you want from me? You're both
It's just-
making fun of me. I'm cornered here.
It's one game. It's
Yeah,
just,
great.
It's one game. You just
Great,
need a
great.
bounce. Like
Game
it's just-
5 was one game too.
Yeah, it was. And they did the awful thing. And again, I don't this is the problem in terms of if they are even to win, is that I really do think that game 5 thing they have is just built into their DNA. And
Yep.
that it's just you're only getting, to me, because of that game 5. And I said this on my show, the only case for running this thing back is a cup win. There's nothing else. Like there's no, hey, you made it to the cup finals. Hey, you beat the Florida Panthers. That game 5 in some way, to me, robbed what would be the accomplishment of winning this series just a touch. Like, yes, would I be excited? Yes, would I be
Yeah.
thrilled? Will I go and celebrate it and have drinks on a Sunday before I have to do a holiday Monday show? You bet your ass. You bet your ass. I'm going to soak it in. I'm going to enjoy it. But when you see those little things crop up like that game 5, it's impossible to just put that part out of your head for me. It's like,
Yeah.
Shout out to the people after game 5 at the end of that misery who chanted Leafs in 7, because you have to be just insanely in love with the team to believe at that point. Shout out to my friends Ian and Sam Cass who went and bought jerseys for their kids the next day. They were in the building for game 5 and went and bought jerseys for their kids the next day. You know, there's people out there, guys, who just
Buddy, on
who
my
deserve this.
my
who
bike
deserve it.
my bike ride home from work today, I saw at least 20 Leafs jerseys. People wearing Leafs hats, carrying beers, ready to rock. The sun was out. It's like game 5 never happened. They just, I'm like, oh God, what a world. I mean, I was wearing my Leafs cutoff to ride my bike. So like, I'm not exactly innocent in this, but I just, anyways, I got nothing.
Well,
I
no,
feel like I'm going in circles here, but I can't
but
let
this is
myself
the
go
thing.
there yet,
This is
boys.
actually, again, when I was younger, I used to care about the players in a certain way, right? Like, you know, Felix Potvin, Curtis Joseph, and Ed Belfour, and Matt Sundin, and Darcy Tucker, like those were heroes of mine. Now it's not the same relationship with the team. What I care about is the people that you're talking about, the ones that time after time after time keep showing up with the faith that things are going to be different and the optimism that it could, and that pay that stupid amount of money. I mean, Bourne's friends are clearly the richest people on planet Earth because they were at that game and then they were like, let's just buy jerseys. I was like, yeah, okay. Bourne hangs with a different class of people than Sam and I do, who would never be doing such a thing. They're just like, yeah, we have tons of disposable. Like, oh, what's another
Ongoing poll: 71% of YouTube chat believes Leafs will win Game 7. Holy smokes!
Yeah,
Holy
but that's
smokes.
again.
How would you
that's-
click no? How could you
Yeah.
possibly? You're watching Leafs talk. You're this deep in all this.
Yeah.
How could you be someone who clicks no?
Yeah,
I
No, if you
don't
click no, you
believe.
suck. Yeah. Listen, it's just like, yeah, they got to do it.
All
They
right.
got to do it.
We're
It would
all
be-
fools. That is
Yeah, we are all
correct, T.
fools.
Wood. That
but
is
that-
correct.
But this is the ride. Like, you know, it's the, what is it? It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Can we
is
get
all
to
part
a
of it.
destination one time?
Yeah, getting to a destination will be very nice.
It'd be amazing.
It's destination unknown right now.
Yeah,
boys.
again, Sam's beyond his
Destination
wildest
unknown.
dreams destination is round 3, which
I mean,
yeah,
I've seen it once in my life.
I
So
know. And it was
that's-
also against Carolina, and we also thought we were going to beat their brains in.
yeah,
So
Arthur
I'm-
Zerbe ain't walking through that door, boys.
Jeff O'Neill,
Freddie
and-
Anderson series.
Oh
No,
my
ju-
God, Bunkis' dream where he gets to be right.
No, it's no, yeah,
I
it's a
would,
win-win.
Bunkis would cheer for Carolina, so he gets to be right about Freddie.
No, I was gonna say that it is a win-win for me because if the Leafs do go out in flames, I can be like definitively I was right about Freddie Anderson, and if they lose, I get to watch my favorite team go to a Stanley Cup. So,
You're in such a good spot. Wow.
yeah,
Big stakes
Yeah.
for you, game 7
yeah,
on
personal
Sunday.
stakes.
yeah,
All
personal stakes are monumental. All right. By the way, thanks to all the God, after that Leafs loss, like I'm not joking. I spent about an hour and a half going through DMs on Instagram, just replying to like literally hundreds of people who are so pissed off and who are having a crisis. And I'm very curious to see what the DMs are going to be like tonight after that win, because boy, talk about.
Probably got some mean ones. You idiots never believed. You're a hack.
Honestly, if you're that kind of person where it's like you didn't believe, it's like, yeah, that's the automatic number one easiest thing to dismiss, where it's like, I don't think you understand sports at all.
Yeah.
Like if you're just purely only like, they're going to do it, it's positive. It's just like, you're not understanding what this is all about in the slightest. So good for you, but nah. All right. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bunkis, at JT Bourne, at Sammy McKee. We'll see you in the mud, and we'll see you for game 7.
Oh, boy.